I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing for Coglin Mill, located in Rochester, Minnesota. I am pleased today to be able to bring you our second partner webinar, From Surfboards to Dashboards, Extreme Data Warehouse Visualization on IBM I. Let's first begin by meeting the team here today to enlighten you on how our two technology companies have come together to provide a comprehensive solution for business intelligence. I'd like to first introduce to you Alan Jordan, Senior Vice President at Coglin Mill. Alan, a native of Australia, has been involved in IBM I development for his entire IT career. Alan oversees product direction and development and also manages the customer support team. He has extensive knowledge and experience in data warehouse technology on IBM I and is a published author and regular speaker at Common and other events. Alan will start us off by reviewing for you how BI and a data warehouse provide value to your organization. Then we will turn our attention towards Heath Kath, SQL Software's Technical Solutions Consultant, for a look at how dashboards intensify the user reporting experience. Heath, who is joining us from Help Systems corporate office in the Twin Cities, specializes in SQL demos, webinars, and customer support. Heath has worked as an educational and consulting services instructor and as a technical support representative for automated operations and data access products. He is an IBM certified specialist on System I, previously working at IBM in product support, testing, software support, and training. Today's webcast will be muted for attendees, so there will not be any live audio interaction, but we will be able to answer any questions that you have throughout the session. The panel on your right provides an area for you to enter your questions that I will ask of the attendees, of the panelists at the end of the webinar. Yes, we are recording today's session, and the recording will be made available online along with the presentation and a link to the Help Systems Solutions Summit. Now let me turn the presentation over to Alan Jordan. Alan, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, Jen. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. First of all, I'd just like to give a brief overview of what we're going to look at today. Firstly, we're going to learn about the pitfalls and successes using a sample case story to show how the two products together can be the foundation for building a successful analytics project. Along the way, we'll understand some of the principles of how a data warehouse and its associated ETL provide the backbone for your business intelligence implementation. And then Heath is going to take over and show you how to track KPIs, create dashboards, and show how they can be very effective in allowing executives and other managers making great business decisions. So there's the agenda. I'm not going to talk too much about this, so I'm just going to first of all start talking about our sample motivation for building a data warehouse. And what we're going to do is use a business case based on a company called Booker Boards. They are one of the leading surfboard manufacturers and distributors in the US. They recognize, though, that there's only so much market share that they can acquire. So many people go surfing and buy surfboards. So to grow their business, they acquired La Jolla Beachwear, which is a fast-growing swimwear and beachwear importer and distributor. And after that, they renamed their whole company to Beachboard Industries. But because the two companies were quite different in operation, they've maintained separate applications. So they didn't combine their computer systems into one. So we have two separate sales, order entry, and distribution channels, etc. Over the last couple of years, they've recognized that they've got a number of different reporting issues. First of all, the two separate systems have made it difficult for them to get a 360-degree view of their customers. Managers are manipulating data with Excel for monthly reporting, trying to bring those two disparate systems together. When they go into their monthly marketing meetings, the sales reports, the marketing reports, the GL reports do not match. So there's arguments about whose report is right and what the real, just uncertainty about what the real numbers are. And as a result of that, last year they made several decisions based on incorrect reports, which result in a big hit to earnings. So it really costs them at the bottom line. They're finding it's almost impossible to track growth and profitability. They know that they are missing opportunities to increase revenue, to save costs, and improve earnings. So with senior managers and analysts are wasting billable time just collecting and organizing data each month for the end-of-month reports. Executives were getting very, very frustrated. So the CTO said, we need to build and implement a business intelligence solution. So I guess that these days everybody on the call probably has a fairly good understanding of what business intelligence is. Hopefully this slide really puts it in a nutshell. It's a set of tools and technologies that take raw data in your operational systems and transform it into some sort of dashboard or advanced reporting visualization tool that allow you to see what is going on in your business, possibly predict what's going to happen next year, next month, compare this year to last year, to all sorts of different analysis, and use that information, meaningful information, to make business decisions and to drive your business forward. So we've set the scene. We have our example company in Beachboard. Let's have a look at what their plans were for their implementation and what they eventually did. So first of all, they looked at the different reporting products and identified that SQL was their chosen reporting tool. They're an IBM customer, SQL's an IBM product, and they made a decision it makes sense to keep it all on the same platform. So their original plan was something like this. Implement SQL against the operational data so they can bring the Booker information into reports, the La Jolla information, and they knew that they had some data from other sources that also needed to be merged onto those reports. They spent some time doing some analysis and then decided what they really needed to do was implement a much more complete solution by building a data warehouse in the middle. So they looked at RODIN and chose RODIN as a solution to build their data warehouse. The question is why? Why did they need that extra layer in the middle? So first of all, I think many organizations are fairly familiar with what the modern business reporting tools like SQL, what they do for you. It's very easy to understand that they visualize your data, they show you the charts, the graphs, etc., allow you to drill down. But RODIN is more of the back end of the business intelligence space. So let's just understand what RODIN is and how it fits into the picture. So just a brief overview. It's a data management tool to define and maintain data warehouses and data marts. Just a brief differentiation. What is a data warehouse and what is a data mart? The data warehouse is your bulk store of information. So this is where you're going to store detailed information about customers, products, and transactions. The data marts are the area where the sets of tables that you build for specific reporting purposes. You might build one for marketing, you might build another one for sales, for financial analysis, etc. So RODIN builds and manages all of those different tables. It's also an ETL tool, so it also allows you to do the load of those tables, pulling from the operational data, applying the transformations, the business rules, etc. It's also a metadata tool. Success of a data warehouse project is very, very much dependent on having metadata. It describes what you have in your data warehouse. So, as a brief overview of the RODIN functionality, let's just look at some of the issues that that Beachboard have in successful business intelligence. The first one is duplicated customers. Now, you may not be running two separate applications yourself or have two separate divisions, but it's quite common to be able to need to merge data from different sources into one merged either product file or customer table. In this case, the two divisions are selling to the same set of customers. So the same customer is probably in both the Booker customer table and the La Jolla customer table. We need to merge them into a single set of customer information and standardize things like customer names, addresses, grouping codes, etc. So this is what RODIN allows to happen. So the combined solution benefit is that we can easily, using RODIN, merge these two customers into one combined customer table and use that standardized table for reporting. Data in operational systems is often stored in a way that's useful for the operational system to work with, but not useful for business intelligence. And net sales is probably the classic example of this. Often it's a calculated value, and what they found is that the calculation for net sales was quite different in the Booker division and the La Jolla division. So they were going, without doing this calculation up front, the report authors were going to have to understand how to do the calculation and that it was different depending on the product line. So the benefit of implementing a data warehouse up front is that that calculation could be performed in the load of the data warehouse, and the report authors did not need to understand what it was and could just pick up that piece of data and use it. So we now have a standardized calculation for net sales, no more arguments about whose report is correct. The reports will always balance. That's just one aspect of what is really a very large problem in reporting from operational data. The design of operational databases is such that they support the ERP application or the purchasing application or whatever it is. The database was designed to support the management of transactions, of customers, of products, etc. It wasn't designed for reporting. So the result of that is we get many tables in the schema. Quite often, if this is a legacy application that was developed 10, 12, 15 years ago, we're going to have short cryptic column names. That's quite difficult to understand what is the meaning of a particular column. Very often we've got numeric dates. That makes it very challenging to report by month or quarter, which is almost always what we want to do when we're performing business intelligence. And in our case, we also have two very different applications. So not only do we need to understand one source application, we need to understand two of them. So we've got double the amount of work of the analysis and design or the investigation of where the data is and how to use it. By using RODIN, we again remove that complexity from the report community, and it's performed as part of the ETL into the data warehouse. And I've got a couple of examples here. This is, again, very, very simple operational schema. Typically in a transaction schema there are a lot more tables than this. I just didn't want to make this chart too difficult to read, but here's a good example of what you might see of a set of tables. First of all, we've possibly got 6 character field names, which is a legacy from RPG3 applications a decade ago. Many applications also use a 2-character prefix for the first 2 characters, so we really only got 4 character field names. How is it? It's not easy to understand what that data is. Maybe we've got text, column headings that are reliable. Maybe we haven't. Dates are just numeric values. Also, it's quite common that we've got data embedded in individual fields. So in our example here, the first character of this FL, FPL, TTB column means the division. So this is probably where we've shoehorned a piece of data into a database structure that was not designed to support. When we use RODIN to transform that data, we can create a data mart that is much more user-friendly. So the first obvious change here is that we've used long, descriptive, meaningful names. So it's very obvious that this is the invoice line item table, very obvious that this is the products table, and we can understand what data is stored in there. We've also converted dates to real dates, so RODIN automatically detects numeric dates and automatically does the conversion into a real date. We've already talked about the net price calculation, so this is a calculation that's already been done for us. And we've also denormalized it. We've reduced this to only 3 tables, and to do that we've brought in some descriptions into our tables here. This is really simplifying our reporting. So instead of having to join 5 or 6 or 10 tables together to bring in descriptions onto a complex report, they're already there in the 2 or 3 tables that are in the data mart. Another issue is data quality, and virtually every organization has this issue, whether you believe it or not. I previously mentioned in our example that Booker had a problem with reporting, And what it would trace down to is failed joins and reports. So when you're performing a report that uses SQL to select the data, it will not tell you if a join fails. So they designed the reporting correctly because of unexpected data values, and as a result the report was incorrect. That led to some bad pricing decisions, which led to a hit to their bottom line. And it's fairly common for report authors to make errors because the data is complex. If you do not understand the structure of the data, the nuances, the idiosyncrasies of it, it's very easy to make mistakes. So by having the simplified data provided by the data warehouse, and by the way, as part of the ETL, RODIN will automatically detect if a join fails. These errors can be detected. You can build your own business rules to make sure that the data is as clean and as valid as you can possibly make it. If you're not convinced about the impact of data quality, this is a statistic from a report that was produced this year. $3 trillion per year is the estimated cost to US business, not worldwide business, but the cost of bad data, which is twice the size of the US federal deficit. And some industry estimates have put that cost at 50 to 20% of your operating revenue. Think of the additional revenue, or think of the additional bottom line that you could achieve if you could eliminate all bad data. Now, building a data warehouse is not necessarily going to solve every part of that, but it's going to certainly eliminate any cost issues that are associated with using that bad data for reporting. By the way, a prior report from 10 years ago put that estimate at 600 billion. So that's in 10 years that value has more than quadrupled, and our increased use of data, that's going to keep increasing exponentially year on year. Another issue is performance. Many reports are at some sort of summary level, so we might be doing a customer group level or division by sales rep, by region, etc. But if we're reporting against operational data, that's always at the detail level. So I always need to roll it up to the customer group, to the sales rep, etc. Depending on the volume of transactions that I'm processing, that could be an impact on performance. Building a data mart that is custom designed for the specific report will really simplify and speed that report up, so it could run in just seconds rather than several minutes. And in fact, in our example, and I've seen this many times at my customers, is that the workload, the additional query workload, could have you considering doing a hardware upgrade to handle that additional query workload. But once you build the data marts at the correct level, that workload on the system during the day when people are running the reports is significantly reduced, and so you might avoid that costly hardware upgrade. Beachboard also gets data from industry groups, from trade groups. So this data, they use it for competitive analysis and for market research. So they want to bring some of that data into their reporting. The problem is it's supplied in delimited text files. So it's very difficult to join to that data and a report. So what they really need to do is load it into a DB2 table and do all sorts of data conversions to make it useful. So RODIN can easily do that. It can load data from text delimited files. And if it happened to be in another database such as SQL Server or Oracle, DB2 on Linux, Unix, or Windows, and with integration software from IBM, we can also pull in data from SAP, from Salesforce, from Lotus Notes, and many other sources. So by building the data warehouse, it allows us to collect data from many disparate sources, merge it together, and make it available for us to use in our BI reporting. Okay, so that's just a sample of the types of issues that companies typically face, and I'm sure most of you will recognize at least some of those issues. And I could have put in another dozen charts here for highlighting many other types of issues that are all solved by building a data warehouse and its associated ETL. So let's just take a brief look at the ETL process. I've got a few charts to show here, and then I'm going to go into a live demo. So What is extract, transform, and load? First of all, it's pulling the data from the data sources. So we're going to get the data from, it could be the text file that I just talked about. It could be our Booker Board application or our La Jolla application. Or it could be from JD Edwards or BPIX or whatever is your ERP. So we're going to pull that data in and do some sort of transformation to convert it into the format that we want to store it in the data warehouse. So that could be converting a numeric date into a real date column, doing a lookup replace, taking a cryptic 2-character code and transforming it into a more meaningful value in the target table. The load part, it sounds simple, but this also can be quite complex. If I'm loading customers, I probably want to insert new customers or update existing customers with the changed telephone number or the new customer grouping code. But if I'm loading into a data mart table, I need to aggregate into the data mart to add in today's sales into the monthly sales bucket. So that can also be quite a complex set of functionality. RODIN, of course, has this functionality. The ETL definitions in RODIN are easily created. It's all performed via our metadata layer. So you work with the metadata using a visual development interface and basically draw lines to create the ETL mappings and the transformations. We can easily load into multiple tables, so I can be loading into a detailed line item table as well as a summary. Lots of powerful business rule capabilities, so we can do conditional processing, selecting, omitting data, conditionally doing calculations and string handling, etc. We've already talked about data quality as being an issue, so it's important that we have error management capabilities, recognizing that a join failed or that a piece of data is bad, and we need to be able to put it aside, report on it, and allow you to correct it and reprocess it later. If you're a public company and if you're doing any financial reporting from your data warehouse, you have to think about Sarbanes-Oxley. And even if you're not, a well-run company will want to know when was the data loaded, what potentially could have happened, and be able to look back and see an audit trail of what happened during yesterday's run or last week's run or last year's run. And RODIN automatically creates those audit trails for you. And of course it needs to be easy to integrate, so we need to be able to schedule it on a regular basis, either via the job scheduler or add it to your end-of-day processing. RODIN's a native IBM application. It makes it very, very easy to do that. We talked a little bit about error management, so this is just showing how RODIN handles that. So any bad data that is identified during the ETL is put into a suspense table. An error log tracks what is the cause of the error, and at the end of the ETL job, an error report is produced. The auditing is automatic. Lots of many different types of audit information are captured. Tell you how many rows we processed, how many were inserted or updated into the target table, hash totaling, elapsed time, performance statistics, etc. So a lot of the difficulties and the challenges in building the data warehouse and performing the ETL is automated for you. You automatically get the error handling. You automatically get the audit information. You don't need to program this or design this yourself. So what I'm going to do now is go into a live demo. So what we are now looking at is the RODIN development client. So this is the user interface that a RODIN developer will use to design and build a data warehouse. So I've got various different functional areas. I've only got a limited amount of time here before I hand it over to Heath. So I'm going to run through this fairly quickly. So what my plan is to do is to build a customer table and then identify the source of data for customers and define the ETL. And I'm going to do that in around about 10 minutes. So let's see if we can do an ETL process in around 10 minutes. So I'm going to be running through this fairly quickly. The first thing I need to do is to define my data elements, which are the target columns in my customer table. So I've already got a whole group of them created here, but it's fairly simple to create new ones. I could call it customer ID. and that automatically propagated into the text description column. I need to give it a short name too. I'm going to say it's character, or let me make it numeric, decimal, and I'll make it length of 9. And that's pretty much all I need to do. I can add things like domain values. I can enter some descriptive text. Okay, and finish. So I've now defined a new piece of data. So when I create a RODIN table, either a data warehouse table or a data mart table, I simply give it a name. And I can also give it some sort of category information if I've got it defined. And then I start selecting the columns that I want to use in there. So I want to use my customer ID column that I just defined. So I find it here. It's customer ID. I also want a customer name. I want the telephone number. I want the sales rep. I'll put the rep code and the rep name in there. I want a region and the region description, and I'm going to leave it. Actually, no, I put in the load date, the date that we loaded this record, and I'm going to leave it at that. So I've selected the columns that I want to include in this table. What is going to be the primary key? I'll select customer ID, and I can also define additional indexes which might be useful for reporting, and finish. This is change management. I can put in my project that I'm working on, RODIN. So we are a development environment, so we've got built-in change management. Yes, I want to build it. And so I've submitted that. In fact, here is my build, which is completed. I've now created that table. I'm going to check it in and make it available. Once a version identifier, so it's version 1, it's now available to use. Next thing I'm going to do is go and identify my data source. So I've got a group here called Booker. This is my Booker customer table. It's this one. And yes, there are some numeric dates in this table, and they're in century Julian format. So I've specified to identify the numeric dates and the format that they're in. I could enter some text if I wanted to. So what we've now done is captured some metadata that describes that table as a data source. And I can see that I've got this date customer acquired, which is a packed decimal 7-digit field, and here is my date format. In fact, I might have the wrong format there. I think it might actually be a year, month, day column. And it's, nope, we'll leave it at that. If I'm wrong, it'll tell me. So, okay. So I've got my target, I've got my source. Let's build the ETL definition. So I'm going to call it demo cust. I need to identify my primary table. That's customers 2. I also want to bring in information from my sales rep table. So I've got my sales rep code and my region table. So I'm going to add those two. I don't need any runtime parameters, and there's various other things that I can select, but I do need to use my customer demo as my target. Okay, so this is the base definition of my extract. I'm joining 3 tables together and loading into one target table. So let's have a look at how this all hangs together. So first of all, the sales rep joins the cus rep, joins to the rep key, and the rep identifies the region, so that joins there. So that's defining my data joins. If you look on the left-hand side here, you can see that if my join fails, if this fails, I'm going to do a reject. So I won't do an inner or an outer join and just skip over any failures. I will get a reject if that occurs. I also want to bring in, let me see, I want today's date, the system date, so I can drag that in as a special value. So Let's have a look here. I've got various different buttons that I can press. I can change my sort sequence. I can switch between short and long names. And as you can see in RODIN, we have the long names, but I didn't have any in my source table. So I'm just going to start joining things up here. Customer number, customer name, telephone number. So this is where I'm doing my source to target mapping. Sales rep code is that one. Rep name comes from here. My region code comes from here. My region description comes from here. My date loaded, I'm going to take, that's the today's date. So I've completed all my source to target mappings. I'm going to save that, close it, and build my ETL definition. So so I've defined it. Let's run it. Got some various parameters. I don't need to change anything. And that should be finished already. So if I do a show job, it's already completed. And let's just do a sample data. And here's the data that I just loaded into my customer table. So that's how quick and easy it is, or it can be, to build an ETL definition through RODIN. Now obviously I knew what I was doing here, and I didn't do anything complex, but it's also fairly easy to build things like rules. So I might want to say, well, I don't want to select, I want to omit any customers that have, I know I have some customers that have the word samples in their name, so I don't want to load those. These are just samples customers. I use them for booking out samples to the reps. So I want to omit if the customer name contains the word samples. So I've now built a rule to say don't extract those, and I might say, I might include some text to exclude those. So building in filters, building in transformation rules is very, very straightforward. We have this very, very powerful rules engine to allow you to perform calculations, transformations, validations, etc. The other thing I can quickly look at is look at my report. As part of this, I generated an audit report, so let's view that. So this is the information of the data that was loaded. So I can give the information about how long it took. It took 0 seconds to run. I had 100 rows in my primary table. I inserted 100 rows into my target, and I can see all sorts of statistics about what happened during that ETL job. That was performed totally automatically for me. If I'd had any errors, which I didn't, I'd also received an error report. Here's an error report from another job that was run previously. So I can see here that in this earlier extract that I failed to find some customers' records. So it tells me that I had a failed join, and it even tells me what the key value for the join was being used. So lots of very, very useful information as part of that building of the data warehouse. So very quick, and hopefully that gave you a bit of an understanding of how we can build data warehouses in RODIN. There's a lot more functionality that we have: change data capture, building views over the tables, building additional indexes, and a whole host of other features such as managing security, putting things together as a batch stream, etc. So what I'm going to do now is turn it over to Heath, and Heath is going to talk about how we would then take the data that we've collated in RODIN and use it to build dashboards in SQL.
Thanks a lot, Alan. I do appreciate that. All right, now that we have all that data that Alan's built up there for us, we can actually use SQL to help distribute dashboard information to those that need it. With SQL, we can distribute the information through graphs, reports, dashboards, even allow you to access that information through the browser. Our data access solution consists of SQL, SQL Viewpoint, and also SQL Web Interface. With SQL Viewpoint, you can quickly and easily build dashboards with data from multiple sources, allowing executives to see data from a high organizational level and allow them to drill down into the more detailed data. Or the data can jump into a department level for managers to analyze. Graphs can be created to enhance the visual aspects of the data for analysis. Client reports can show data with totals, lines, logos to make
Muted.
it more presentable. SQL Web Interface allows the users to see the data on the go in a variety of formats, all from a browser. With SQL, we can take Beachboard's information gathered by RODIN and distribute several different ways. One is through reporting. Reporting is a great way to distribute the information, especially because not all the information is displayed on a screen. This is an area where SQL really excels in. Reports can be initiated by a user, called from a program, or scheduled. You can send custom reports to many users using a list-based process. And your reports can be displayed, printed, saved to a folder, maybe a PC, network, or to the IFS, the Integrated File System, or even delivered using FTP, sent through via email, including attachments. We all have different needs and different preferences, and SQL is designed to meet them. Some people want results in a text format, such as text files, rich text. Others want XLS, PDF, XML, or HTML. Well, SQL handles all of these, plus other standard and customized types. SQL's report formatting tools will let you change the fonts, colors, insert pictures and graphs, and allows you to save them. Thus, the result, each time you open up, it looks great. So let me tell a little more about Viewpoint. Viewpoint is a GUI front end of SQL that resides on your PC. With Viewpoint, you can easily create new reports without the need of a programmer. You will be able to look at the collected information quickly and easily, especially through dashboards. From your SQL dashboard, you will be able to view sales, productivity, revenue, or anything else that you may need to monitor. Your SQL dashboards can present key performance indicators, KPIs, and business metrics. You can display data graphically and have SQL update your data and graphs automatically to stay current. You can also allow users to dynamically drill down into that detailed data, which is perfect for much of the marketing, financials, and sales data on your system. And to mention, these dashboards, again, can be viewed from your PC using SQL Viewpoint or from the browser using SQL Web Interface. SQL Web Interface, our browser tool, a tool that helps you solve your business problems. You will find how quick and easy it is to distribute the information, how much time is saved by not needing to install software on each and every PC. With SQL Web Interface, you do not need to spend days building a customized web page. You can actually use our interface as your web page to get to the information that you need. By using our browser software, SQL Web Interface, you will find that it is a very secure way to access the information that you need, how you need it, and when you need it. So again, what is SQL Web Interface? Well, first of all, it's some software that you load in your System I that allows you to access your SQL objects, your data from the browser. It does require SQL to be on the system. It is your base product. When you install SQL Web Interface, we will automatically configure a new HTTP server instance and start a view automatically in the background. Then you will be able to access SQL objects like views, reports, and dashboards all from the browser, grabbing all that information that you need without installing anything on your PC. Through the web, we do support all the different types of SQL objects, your runtime prompts, the drill downs, supports your image file imports, building graphs and charts. It supports the ease of use and the distribution of your business information. We also allow you to navigate just like in Viewpoint through our new Explorer interface. Just drag and drop, double click, whatever you want to do out there, to run those objects. A very secure way to access your information anywhere. What you're looking at here is an example of our classic interface. Maybe you have a customized web page, and through that customized web page, you can actually click on a link to run that report to get that data that you need. Then we also have the new SQL Web Interface, the Explorer interface, where it has a look and feel just like Viewpoint, a GUI product, where you can actually double-click or right-click to run those certain objects and distribute as you need, from displaying them, printing, emailing, and so forth. Now this time here, I'm going to jump out of here, and I'm going to show you around the browser with SQL Web Interface. Very quickly, just to give you a quick snapshot of the SQL viewpoint. This is a GUI product, the GUI front end, where it allows you to create those objects, run the objects, and so forth. From in here, you can create those simple views, customize reports and tables, and then, of course, eventually build that dashboard, which is what I'm going to show you next. And what I'm going to show you is actually using the new Explorer interface. We do, again, force a secure sign-on. Let me jump to my library. Again, I can navigate around to different objects, different libraries, and so forth. But I'm just going to open up a dashboard by double-clicking on the object. All right, well, with all that data that Alan created for us out there over the beach boards information, we can see right away what's going on within the different areas. We have some sales by customers group, the percentage of sales by region, and this is all live data. We're actually querying the information right away to bring it up. Margin performance by customer, a couple different data sets down below here, and of course a chart, another graph on the right-hand side. There's different types of graphs and charts you can work with. View chart, you can actually change this to graph type. So if you like different designs of charts, again, there's a full selection of different charts you can work with. Working more with those charts and graphs you have in front of you, these little arrows on the left-hand side indicate some type of a drill down that's possible for you, either an application drill down or a dynamic drill down. And what I mean by that, if I click on the arrow, we'll have a couple options. These two options are dynamic. In other words, there's nothing created behind the scenes to run this. This is just a summarized view allowing me to actually drill a little deeper into whatever customer I pick on. So if I pick on, let's go back over here a little bit. Can't quite see it there. Beach bodies. Left click, show details, I can drill deeper into beach bodies. So if I will go out here and just kind of grab a few different fields, hit OK, it's going to actually build an ad hoc view behind the scenes and return the information real quickly. At this point, you have a lot of options to work with results. Of course, we see them there, but you can actually go out here and click on the Save option to actually save them down as your PC type object, or maybe save it to a physical file, or maybe you want to create a PC document back on the integrated file system. You can also print the results, email them, and create additional charts over it. The properties is just the definition. We jump back. That was the dynamic drill downs. Again, you can do the same thing here with the sales by rep if you wanted to. But jumping up here to the right corner for the graph, sales by region, if I select one of these slices, the option to drill into South Florida pops up, allowing me to do some additional types of drill downs. One, I can do those dynamic options. I can drill deeper into South Florida, or I can actually use an application to drill into certain areas. If I pick on South Florida customers, it's going to actually run another existing view this time and return those customers for Florida. We jump back. Now on the left-hand side, we have some action buttons. The top one here, if I click on that, it's going to actually run a report, a host report, returning all the different customers within the beachboard industries. So quickly we can see some of the invoice costs and sales and so forth. Jumping back here to my main dashboard again. The balance sheet. This one here is going to take a little bit of time here, but we're actually taking that report to the next level. We're actually going to create a client report. We actually have two different types of reports. One is the host and one is the client. Client takes advantage of some Crystal software and allows you to incorporate some graphics. Let me bring it over to my other PC there. So quickly here we got a beachboard, LLC, consolidated balance sheet, and so forth. We got some information come down. Let me see if I can make it fit a little better. I'm not seeing the zoom. Oh, there it is. So now you can see the whole thing at one time. So again, you can really customize these reports to fit your needs or the user's needs, and to really get down to it, get the data that you need, get that information out there. All right, so jumping back to the dashboard. As you notice here again, this is the Explorer interface. So it allows me to kind of navigate around, jump into different areas and so forth. You have different action buttons. You can actually run and jump to different websites. So you can really customize these dashboards from including your graphics, gauges, charts, data, of course, the action buttons. So again, you can do a lot of different things to really help get the information out to the users. All right, I think that's about all I'm going to show here. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump out of here. Okay. All right, that's all I have for the live demonstration. I'll let Jen.
Thanks, Heath.
Yep.
So, let's go ahead and summarize what we've done today. How do we make it easier for you? Coglin Mill and Help Systems, we're a great partnership. We're IBM i-centric. We have 2 leading companies that are blazing the trail in business intelligence. We do have special bundling and pricing. Please ask us for that, whether you're a customer or buying a new. Meaning that if you're a SQL customer and if you're looking for RODIN, we'll certainly take that into consideration for pricing. It's okay, keep going. You can tell I'm not in control here. We're also both members of the Solution Edition program with IBM, which means that we have special value with Power 7 for SMB. I've included this link here if you want to see the slides. You can also just Google IBM i Solution Edition to get more information on this program. Suzette Weldon has joining us today. Hey, how are you? Can you tell us a little bit about your event next month?
I can. Thank you all. As Jen mentioned, Help System Solutions Summit is going to be held in Minneapolis this September 17th to the 20th. And I should mention that this event is not just for Help Systems customers, but it's really for anyone interested in the I. There's going to be over 60 sessions. It's going to cover automation, business intelligence, security, but lots more, including we have some prominent IBMers who I think should prove to be both informative and entertaining. So there's lots for everybody. We hope you can attend. You can find the full information on our website, and we'd love to see you there.
Well, I think we're all done here. Thank you very much, Alan, Heath, Suzette, for putting this together. I'm sure that and everybody here has enjoyed the information. From the team here in Rochester and the Twin Cities and Chicago, where Suzette is, thank you all for joining us with Coglin Mill and with SQL, a Help Systems company. My name is Jen Halverson. I wish you guys have a great day.